lead, okay?
Great.
Perfect.
We're with you and behind you.
Okay. Okay, so it shows that we are live on Facebook. Let me just go ahead and refresh my screen so I can see what's happening here. This is always a interesting process when you're doing it by yourself. So just bear with me 1 second here. Okay, so it is showing that it is on Facebook, but let me just see one thing here.
And they change it so often, so it makes it complicated.
Yes, exactly. Totally. Okay, so I am gonna go ahead and I'm going to post the let me see if I can post the link. Well, everyone should have the link at this point because it's showing up on the other Facebook things. So, okay, let me just check really quick here to make sure it is showing up because I just can't see it. And yeah, there we go. Okay, very good. Okay. So if anybody is hearing us, and you want to join in this conversation, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Okay. If anybody wants to join us and participate in the conversation, please see the other post and you will find the link to join us. All right. So let's begin. I'm so excited that you guys are here. And as you can see, I have my magic cape here on. It's my EQ to the rescue. And I will be wearing my magic cape pretty much all the time that we gather on these EQ adventures. So, and how fun is this? It's mirror effect, so I got to see what I'm doing. So we got the emotions going on. Okay, they're hiding in all of us. And so we got the EQ to the rescue. And so here we go. So let me start with first introducing myself to all those that may or may not know me. My name is Ala Esther Levy, and I am an emotional intelligence specialist, minister of spiritual healing, and an undercover comedian, given that I have gone through my improv Dania, the improv in Dania Beach comedy club, and I have graduated with honors as a beginner comedian, right? So anyhow, and the reason why I say comedian is really because humor is so important to us, right? You ladies out there, you know that humor is so important to our emotional health and to really optimizing our emotional intelligence. And so for all those people, that may be wondering, why is she being so goofy? Because humor is vital. It's vital for us to make it in this world. So we're gonna I'm gonna let people in as they show up, and we're just gonna keep rolling along. Okay, so before we really get into everything, I want to quickly thanks. Hi, Martha. How you doing? Welcome.
Hi.
And and we're gonna get to know each other in just a minute. But I'd also want to just give a little bit of introduction of, where all this came from and why I'm doing this. I am the founder of the EIEQ Institute, which is a platform dedicated to the awareness, education, and practice of emotional intelligence. And so, you know, I do encourage everyone to please go to my website. That is a way that you can connect with me, and you can also learn about my work, and you can also get lots and lots of tools on that site so that you can manage your level of crazy, okay? And so why, you may wonder, you know, why does Esther often talk about, you know, for those people that watch my Facebook and watch the level of crazy theme and all of that, you may be wondering, what is all that about? You know, why do you talk about level of crazy? Where'd you get that from? Well, let's just say that, and I'm not going to give you a big explanation. You can actually tune into my podcast once it gets launched. But basically, many years ago, I realized that I had a level of crazy. And like like I always say, like an asshole, everybody has one, okay? So if you think that you don't have a level of crazy out there, you are mistaken. And because none of us are normal, we all have something unique about us, and it makes us very special. It just makes us who we are. And so there's no reason to get rid of it, but there is a way to learn more about it. And so how I like to say is that there's two kinds of crazy. We have the reactive crazy and we have the proactive crazy, right? And the reactive crazy is anything that disrupts your internal peace, harmony, your ability to really function in the world and really be connected to yourself and to others. And proactive crazy is anytime that you feel connected to yourself and you feel connected to others in a very positive, lighthearted, joyful, loving, peaceful way. And so these are the two dynamics. Now, just want to preface that for some of those stealers out there, I have coined the phrases proactive and reactive crazy, so don't even try it. They're being trademarked. So I wanted to make sure that those thieves out there don't start to, you know, go crazy on me. So anyhow, just anyway, so just to, you know, let us know that the truth is that these two crazies that we have, some people many years ago when I first started this process, a lot of people were a little bit you know, perturbed with me that, you know, how can I use this term crazy? It had a stigma to it, right? But truthfully speaking, now, almost 10 years later, I hear the term crazy being used everywhere. And that's because people are realizing that we all have crazy. We all have a level of crazy. We have this crazy that's good, and we have a crazy that's bad. You could be super crazy wonderful. You could be super crazy creative. You could be super crazy energy and intuitive and productive and so many of the good things. But you can also have, right, we all have this reactive crazy, which is that negative crazy part of us. You know, maybe we're jealous, maybe we're sad when we shouldn't be, maybe we spend too much time with negative behaviors and things like that. So those are the things that we want to work on, and we want to just transform them. And I call us the transformers. That is part of this process, is when we go through the process of going from reactive crazy to proactive crazy, that is when we become transformers. And so it's a really exciting thing. So wow, thank you so much for being here, you guys. It means the world to me. And that is when I see I get verklempt. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, so Gail, so nice to see you. So before we continue, I wanted to make sure that you guys and everybody had that information out there. And now, if you're interested in introducing yourself, please do, because I do want to make this forum interactive. That was one of the things that I'm going to love doing my podcasts, but what I love is really interacting with you guys, with the audience. So, I want you, if you feel comfortable, I want you to share who you are. So maybe give me your name, first name, what you do, if you want to share a business, or if you want to share a hobby, or how you service the world. So we'll make it like a little bit of a networking kind of thing. And then what brought you on today? What inspired you to be here? Okay. So keep it to, I would say, a minute and a half. And then we'll go from there. All right. So who wants to go first? Just raise your hand, and then that way not everybody starts talking all at once. Okay, Martha.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Esther. I'm Martha, and I lived in Miami for 1 year as a flight attendant with American Airlines, and I am now back at home in hot and sunny Phoenix, Arizona. And I had the pleasure of meeting Esther while I was there in Miami. What brought me on today was I know that Esther is a cool lady, and I think that she attracts really high vibe, cool people. And I like connecting that way and with other cool people and listening to people's stories and authentic sharing about their level of crazy. I really like that. I think that's kind of cool. So that's why I'm here today. Yes.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
sharing, and thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
All
You're
right. Who
welcome.
wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
My name is Deborah, and I am in California. And I met Esther over Facebook, and we just connected. And I work with something behind me called Color Mirrors. They're essential oils that have a life force. They're activated by something called Melchizedek energy, which is sacred geometry energy. And it really helps to act as a playful tool to help you transform that level of craziness into more positive with ease and grace. And so that's my passion. And I have been working with these on and off for over 20 years. So they're quite playful. They have a mind of their own. They have, they change colors, they bubble, they churn, they stay on the tarmac in Dubai for a week and a half before they want to come here because they come from South Africa. So yeah, they're playful.
Thank you so much. And before we take the next person, I want to share something about Deborah. Deborah connected with me a couple of months ago, and she has been trying to get me to have a meeting with her, and it just didn't work out. And eventually, I do believe in seeing mediums when it's necessary, or psychics, just to help us along with our crazy. And I did. And the day that I went to see this medium, like an hour later, I get another message from Deborah. And what's ironic about that was that the medium actually told me that I will be incorporating certain modalities into my work. And one of those modalities was possibly working with essential oils. And that's what Deborah works with. So we connected. She did this amazing consultation with me. And I will tell you that I am a very practical individual. As much as I'm spiritual, I am also very practical. And I don't always go into I love the woo-woo stuff, but I am very careful about the woo-woo stuff. And I will tell you that so far, so good. I feel really amazing. And after we get to introduce ourselves, we're going to actually spray a little bit here. And we're going to have a little bit of a intention setting using the oils. So I'm very excited to share them with you. Okay, so Fleur or Gail, who wants to go next?
Fleur does.
Okay. Okay, Fleur.
Fleur does. My name is Fleur, I live right around the corner from Esther. Not exactly, but within driving distance. I met Esther through our Temple Adath Or, and she and I became very well connected many years ago. I don't even know how many years ago. And
About 13.
yeah, okay, that's good. I enjoy her company. I enjoy her inspiration. She's always uplifting, always able to bring a positive spin to whatever's going on. But like she said, she's grounded. It's not just woo-woo stuff. What I do for a living is I am a real estate broker. My husband and I opened up a real estate company in 2009. And we've got 14 agents working for us. Unfortunately, I lost my husband a year and a half ago. But my group of agents have been tremendously supportive and very helpful. And I just keep on trucking. That's
And
it.
you're doing a fine job at it. Fleur is so powerful and so amazing. And she's really an inspiration to the community on being able to just move past a loss. You know, being married for almost 30 years, right? 30 years
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah.
So that's a lifetime pretty much. So she's
Yeah.
really an inspiration to all of us. And
Thank
you know, she's doing amazing. So
Thank you.
okay. And I realized that I was in such a you know, I'm just kind of learning this thing here. So I didn't give my love to Martha. I wanted to say Martha and we met at an amazing event many months ago, and it was like meant to be, because ever since then we've just been kind of in each other's worlds and supporting each other. And so you never know when you're going to meet a soul sister or soul brother. So, you know, just keep your eyes open, because you never know. So thank you, my love, for being in my life. All right, Gail.
I've actually been drawn into this by Fleur. That's how I met Esther, and I've been in Coconut Creek for like 20 years. Before that, I was in property management and real estate. I don't work with Fleur, unfortunately. But and my husband passed away a year ago. And from that, Rabbi Mark connected me with Fleur again and brought me back into TAO, which I am thoroughly grateful for. And that's about it at this point.
Well, I will tell you that both of these women are amazing inspirations. I mean, I find it, I find the fact that people can be within partnership and then lose their partner and just continue to move on in life. That's real EQ. That's really what we're talking about here. That is, when people say, what is EQ, right? And we're going to get into that in a second, but what is EQ? EQ is really that in action. Emotional intelligence is when you're able to recognize when you become more self-aware and self-managed. Okay. So let me just mute Fleur for a second there. Okay. So again, emotional intelligence is really when you can become more self-aware and self-managed. So what that means is you can recognize and manage your level of crazy. And when you lose a partner, that's a big level of crazy right there, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. So the fact that these ladies are able to get themselves together and keep it moving, that's amazing. So good for you guys, and you guys can definitely teach us some things. All right. So let's get into it. I think pretty much we covered what is EQ, right? We already talked about what is emotional intelligence. And EQ, just really quick, EQ is emotional quotient, which is the percentage of your emotional intelligence faculty. So if you were to take a test, there's assessments out there, and there's actually an assessment on my website. It's super fun. It's something I created, and it's free to take. You can take it and you can learn what's your level of crazy and where you are on the scale. So, but when someone says to you, oh, you know, there's an emotional intelligence assessment, you know, so that you can understand what is your emotional quotient, what is your percentage of this faculty that you have within you. Okay. So any questions so far about anything we talked about?
What's your website?
What's my website? Excellent question. So my website is actually written right there. It's on my name right there. So EIEQinstitute.com. EIEQinstitute.com.
Say that again, one more time.
EIEQinstitute.com.
Okay.
And the other thing I do want to mention, and this is another plug also, Florida Balance Centers. This is our clinic. This is what allows the EIEQ Institute to flourish and to continue to grow. So we definitely want to thank them as a sponsor. We help people with vertigo, balance, dizziness, and acupuncture. And we take a very holistic approach. So we use a model of functional movement, nutrition, acupuncture, and emotional health. So if you're out there and you're suffering with vertigo, dizziness, and any kind of pain management issues, please reach out to us, Florida Balance Centers. Okay, so let's get into the topic of today. Any other questions about EQ or anything like that? Proactive, crazy, reactive, crazy? Any other questions that I can answer before we get into it? Okay. So the topic of today was, how do we optimize our emotional intelligence in a world that during hard times, right? How do we optimize during hard times? Well, the first thing that I want to share with people out there is that one of the most important tools that I found to help me with my level of crazy is spirituality, and I call it functional spirituality. This is a term that also is going to be in my book. It's also a coined and brand new term brought into the world. And what it means is that, and I'll actually read it to you from my book here. This is the manuscript. Functional spirituality is the connection and partnership between you and this invisible force, usually referred to, you know what? And I forgot to hit pause. Hold on. Sorry. I forgot to record this. 1 second. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Okay.
I thought you had hit it earlier.
Yeah, I hit pause. I think I hit pause or whatever. So let me just see if I can start the recording now, but if not, it's on Facebook, so I'll just have to deal with that. Okay, I don't want to mess up anything here, so I'm just gonna have to keep it moving. Okay. I don't know. Okay. So functional spirituality is the connection and partnership between you and this invisible force, usually referred to as God's spirit, universe, light, omnipresent, or being, or whatever you wish to call it. FS is when you and this force work together to recognize and manage your level of crazy to create your desired results. So it is basically this force you know, some people may not believe in God, right? There's a lot of that going on in the world where a lot of people are just not believing in that there's a God, there's too much evil in the world, there's so much destruction. Esther, you're naive. I mean, look at all the stuff that's going on. How can there be a God, right? Why would God do this to us? Here's the thing. And people that truly understand what functional spirituality really is will say this to you. God is not the problem. Okay? God is not the problem. Okay? God is this amazing life force that created everything. And we have free will and keep screwing it up. Okay? So we are the problem. Now, the good news is that if we can learn how to fix this, right? If we can learn to move through this and use functional spirituality to move through these processes that we deal with, right? We get through these crazy moments that we have and move into proactive crazy, then this world would be a completely different place, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the truth is that our job, welcome to Karen. Who's Karen?
Hey, how are
Hey.
you?
How you doing? Welcome,
love-
Karen, everybody.
Love the cake.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you. So introduce yourself really quick.
I'm Karen.
And what do you
We-
do?
We own a costume store, Crazy About Costumes. Very close with your family for oodles of years and love you all. And best part is TAO and now what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And what inspired you to be here with us?
You
Aw.
and your thoughts and your just the aura of what you're presenting.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. And Karen was a very vital part in helping me manifest the cape. So I'm so excited. And her and her husband spent, a good hour with me, guiding me on what's the right thing to do. And so thank you so much for your help with that. So anyway, guys, so like I said, so God is not the issue, right? We figured this out already. Okay. So God's not the issue. It's free will. It's our job to figure things out. And here we are. So now, okay. So how do you do that, right? How do we do that in a world that's Meshuggah, right? So we know what Meshuggah means, right? Who knows what Meshuggah means? Anybody
know
who doesn't know what Meshuggah means?
It's our
Okay.
world.
Okay. So Meshuggah
It's
is
fully appropriate.
what?
It's fully appropriate.
Yes. So Meshuggah is just another word for crazy, right?
Yeah,
I think it's
just crazy.
I think it's a Yiddish word, no?
A Yiddish
Yes.
word. It's a Yiddish
Okay.
word. Now you can
Yes.
speak another language.
Yes. And I figured and I looked up what Yiddish means, and Yiddish actually means Yiddish is a German language combined with other languages, because when the Jews came to Germany, there was a bunch of different languages that were brought in, and so Yiddish got created from all those mixes of languages. So it's a very interesting
Predominantly Hebrew. There's
Say again?
a lot of predominantly Hebrew and German.
Yes, there was a mix of Hebrew, German, and a bunch of other Aramaic. There was a bunch of other languages that were included in that. Excuse me. So it's an interesting language. And my grandparents spoke it, and so anyone who has those backgrounds like Jewish, Russian, Eastern European, you probably know about Yiddish on some level. Okay. So what are the tools, right? So let's talk about these tools that so number one, so functional spirituality, and why I wanted to do functional spirituality on this video first is because as I will start the
Both cameras
podcasting.
on.
as I will start the podcasting, just make sure you guys mute yourself if you talk. As we start the podcasting, I will talk in depth about functional spirituality and all of that, so that we can fully. Who's talking out there? What's going on out there? Okay, so anyway, so I will talk more in depth about functional spirituality on the podcast. But here I just wanted to bring it up really quickly as a baseline, so that we can understand that when we're really talking about functional when we're really talking about how to optimize our EQ, we have to really understand, like, how do you even start? You know, how like some people just, you know, they see the world very black and white, you know, and so for them, it's very hard to even imagine another, like something that has their back, basically. And what's functional spirituality does is that it tells you, it reminds you, you have someone's got your back. Okay, that's the best way to explain it. Someone's got your back. So whether you believe in God or you don't, I would say that the most important way to start working on your optimizing of your crazy, and I'm sorry, I'm dealing with this leftover cough that just is super annoying, is to really optimize. I mean, yes, is to really get connected more to this concept of functional spirituality, which means that there is a force out there that has your back. Okay. And if you ever doubt that, I would invite you to do something I call looking for proof in the pudding, right? Look for evidence. So look for times in life where you were so lost and you felt so alone and you felt like, man, like I'm all alone, but then somehow everything just worked out, right? All of a sudden something, it just like you get the phone call that, you know, this person's helping you out, or you get like, you know, this thing comes through and now you have a car, or, you know, you find a job exactly when you needed a job. It's like, if I told you all the times that my life presented these kinds of things, I swear, it's like mind blowing to me, you know? And can you remember a lot of those, some of those times? If you want to share an example, feel free to come on and share an example. Anybody want to share a story? You don't have to, but okay. So, so for example, maybe I'll give you one. So for example, I was heading into my second divorce, and it really was a very hard time for me because I felt like I was doing all the right things at that time in my life. And here I was entering into my second divorce. And I ended up leaving my husband and moving back in with my parents. And right at that time, I needed a job because you know how they say everything comes in threes, right? So I lost my husband. I had no job. And then my car broke down. So here I am, like, what am I supposed to do with all this now, right? So somehow it all just started. And at that time, I actually was very mad at God, to be honest. That was the time that I was very mad at God. And for 2 weeks doesn't seem like anything. I mean, like, to someone who, you know, like 2 weeks is not a big deal, right? 2 weeks is just 2 weeks. But for someone who believed in God, I believed in God for my connection with God was for, like, let's just say 12 years. I had a very, very strong relationship with God. And then for 2 weeks, I was like, no, this is a divorce. I have no job. I have no car. This is ridiculous. Like, there's no God out here. I'm all alone. There's, this is ridiculous. This is insanity. But what happened was that during those 2 weeks, everything was just playing out. It was like I literally had no control over these miracles that were happening. I was just taking one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and saying yes to things. And as I was saying yes to things, the next thing would open up. And let me tell you, in a matter of 45 days, I had a place to live, which I was already living with my parents, but I didn't want to live with my parents. I wanted to live on my own. So I ended up moving in with my sister, who was very gracious at that time to open her home to me. They had her and her boyfriend had a separate, like a room that they were going to rent to someone. And they said, why don't you be the renter? We want you. So I was like, I don't have any money. And they were like, no, we want you. You will find the money. So I moved in with my sister, had my own room. I had got a car. My car was totaled and was taken to a dealership. They gave me a car with no money down, no job, no nothing. Back then, that's maybe what happened, right? This was like 10, 12 years ago, but still, right? That doesn't mean anything. And then within 45 days, because I had 45 days to pay my first car note, within 45 days, I got a job. So how does that happen if you're not guided? You see what I'm saying? Now, also, a lot of people say, yeah, but I've done that and I didn't get what I wanted. And da, da, da. Okay, sure. You have to say yes. You know what I mean? You have to be willing to take the job. You have to be willing to take the car. You have to say yes. And here's the other irony of it. At that time, the cars were, I've always wanted an SUV, right? Well, at that time, the car that was new was the Dodge Caliber, and it was from Dodge. Well, my car got towed to the Dodge dealership, and the car that they ended up giving me was this SUV, which was this, it was like a little mini, it was like a hybrid between a car and a SUV. So it was my first SUV and I was so excited. So it was kind of like, man, like life is amazing if you trust it, if you trust the process. So anyway, so that's one of the biggest tools. One of the biggest tools of really connecting to our ability to optimize our emotional intelligence and to really be able to recognize and manage the crazy, okay? The next tools I want to discuss is meditation. So who meditates here? Okay, great. Okay. So meditation, does anybody want to give any any comments about meditation?
I will. There's so many different forms of meditation. And when I first started off, I was doing a more formatted with the groups of people meditation, transcendental meditation. And then I discovered that you can do cooking meditations, you can do walking meditations, you can do meditations when you're doing art or you're doing your favorite hobby. So it's really, for me, it's about turning off the inner chatter so that I can allow whatever's supposed to come in. So my most favorite way is when I cook. That's one of my most favorite meditations, is when I cook. And then you can also do guided meditations and other meditations like that as well. It's really about taking the time to shut the mind chatter off a little bit.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Anybody else have any thoughts about meditation? Okay, so let me read you what I write about meditation. Meditation, there's so many kinds, like you said, there's so many kinds of meditations. There's I write them all here. It's like spiritual meditations, focus meditations, movement meditation, mantra, transcendental, progressive, relaxation, loving kindness. Right? There's so many. And when we really talk about meditation, you know, for me, it's not always a standard kind of meditation. And if you go to my YouTube channel, there is a meditation there that I do. It's with the fingers. And the reason for that is because for those people that are like just starting out meditation or just can't seem to quiet their mind or control the mind, because technically, I don't think we're even supposed to try to quiet the mind. That's very hard to do. But we can, for me, it's about controlling the mind, right? And being the boss, no offense, but like I'm the head bitch in charge, right? Not my body, not the monkey mind trying to pull me this way and that way. It's about me being in control. So this meditation that I created was really for people that have a very hard time with the quieting of the mind. And if you look on my web, if you look, either go to the website and you'll go to the YouTube channel, or go straight to the YouTube channel, it's there for you. And if I have a chance here, I'll link it before we end the call. Just remind me and I can do it. The YouTube channel is called Level of Crazy. So if you go straight to YouTube, you can find it there. And it's a video on meditation. So with meditation, let's do this really quick because I forgot to do this earlier, and it's a great time to do it now. So Deborah sent me the samples of these little oils, and she's the expert at these. So if I say something wrong, Deborah, you can correct me. But this is how I see them. And so I want us to just kind of close our eyes for a moment. Well, before you close your eyes, I want you to, each bottle I want you to look at. So we're going to start with, let's start with Pink Angel. So Pink Angel is this beautiful bottle with this lovely color. It's a pinkish hue. And she's holding it up for us there too. It's so beautiful. And the intention of this bottle is really about, that's how I understood it, is nurturing, really surrounding yourself with love and care, and just being really nurturing to yourself. And so I'm going to spray a little bit, and she sprayed also. And so
it's also reminding you to put your oxygen mask on first before you take care of anybody else.
Thank you. And so it smells a little bit like, the aroma of it smells like kind of like roses a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really, really, really subtle and really beautiful. And the energy of these are very powerful, even though you guys can't smell them, but just the intention and the energy that's being sent to you is very, very powerful. Like I experienced it myself. The intention of it was just really incredible when I did it with Deborah. The second bottle here is Menetron. Such a beautiful color.
Menetron. Yeah.
Menetron. And the energy of this is, as she says it, it's really for like feeling overwhelmed, to avoid overwhelm, stress. It's for a lot of like entrepreneurs or people that are very busy, and to just really learn to just calm. It helps you calm your energy. And just really looking at it is just so beautiful. It's like just looking at it makes me happy. Right? So I'm spraying it all over myself now. Okay, making a mess. The cool thing about it also is that these absorb very quickly. So that was one thing that was important to me, is that they didn't leave any kind of marks. So yeah, and this smells, it's like a very unique kind of smell. I can't even describe it. It's like I can't even, maybe a lilac or
It's a little bit flowery.
flowery. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very
flowery.
good. It's like
It
Fleur, the
really
flower.
assists you also in folding time so that you're not on overwhelm. And it's for people who tend to overthink, overdo. And again, it's about mothering, nurturing yourself. Yeah.
And then the last bottle here is, how do you say it? Kunran Yin?
Oh, Kuan Yin.
Kuan Yin.
Kuan Yin.
Kuan Yin. And this one, unfortunately leaked on its way here, and it's for compassion. So you can just take a
So-
look at it. It's for compassion.
I don't have another Kuan Yin bottle, but this is just so you can get like a little closer look. This is the conscious and this is the unconscious. And you put it either in your bath or you meditate with it or you rub it on you, and it goes down to the language of the DNA level and begins to clear the stories and the beliefs and the patterns that are keeping you from transforming with ease and grace.
So, so anyway, I want you guys to just take a minute and just take a deep breath in with all that energy. Take a deep breath in and then release it out, letting all the cares of the day, just letting it go. And then one more time, in. And then letting it out. And then one more time, in. And out. So the next tool I want to talk about is balancing chakras. So who knows what a chakra is? Yes? Everybody knows what chakras are? Sort of, kind of? Okay. I'm going to try to do something here. Let's see if this works. I'm going to share my screen. Let me just see if it's saved on my thing here. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a chakra right here. These are the chakras. And this is what it says that they do. Chakras refer to various energy centers in the body that correspond to specific nerve bundles and internal organs. The 7 major chakras run from the base of your spine to the top of your head. If these energy centers get blocked, you may experience physical or emotional symptoms needed to that particular chakra. So here you have all the different chakras. Let me just see if it gives us the here it is. Okay. So we have the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral chakra, and then the root chakra. And they're very powerful. These are very, very powerful centers in the body. And it's interesting that when we do have an illness, And if you go to like a spiritual practitioner, if you go someone who works with energy, like a Reiki person, or maybe like even an, I would say even an acupuncturist, or anyone who's really into the realm of working with the spiritual realm. Maybe someone like Deborah as well, who does the color mirrors. Or maybe someone like a coach, a lot of life coaches do it. So anyone who really, you tell them when you have a physical ailment, will be able to tell you, if they're very intuitive and if they're very good at what they do, they will be able to tell you which chakra is most likely blocked, because they are connected with the physical body. So it's pretty fascinating. And a lot of times when we're dealing with money stuff, or survival stuff, that's usually the root chakra. When we're dealing with addictions, or when we're dealing with like a lot of emotional creativity and being stuck with our creativity, that is our sacral. Our solar really has to do with our self-esteem and what's really going on for us from that perspective, like how we're showing up in the world. That's our solar. And then our heart chakra, dealing with, let's say, grief, or a lot of, just a lot of emotional distress, usually about relationships or loss or grief or anything like that. That's usually in the heart chakra. And then throat has to do with communication. And then your third eye has to do with, being able to see and intuition. And then your crown, obviously, being connected to source and when everything comes in. So these are just very, very powerful tools to be able to tap into. Now, I wanted to share with you some of the benefits of balancing our chakras. So just bear with me one second here. Any questions about that? Okay.
No, that's where I wanted to just share with you that I teach Holy Fire Reiki, and it's kind of upgraded the Reiki that I was taught years ago. I've been a Reiki master teacher for almost 40 years. And the more that somebody works with Reiki, or more that somebody works with energy, because there's a lot of different modalities out there, that you develop intuition. So some people can see when the organ isn't, or the chakra isn't balanced. And I can actually feel when my hands go over those chakras, they'll either like suck more energy out of my hand, or they'll vibrate, or they'll just do something to tell me that that area needs more help. And then with the color mirrors, we have the original chakra bottles and the higher vibration chakra bottles. I can put those on the chakra, or sometimes even some of the other bottles that are not even a chakra bottle will want to be on there, because all of the chakras really have all of the colors. It's just that we've been so dense that we only see usually one color. But if you look at a little kid, and we have little chakra roll-on bottles, and he may take the red and put it up on his third eye, even though the red is for the root chakra. And it's because he knows that his third eye is lacking red, and he or she needs red. And so they really can, the kids can really teach us so much about the chakras and about the energy as well. So it's been fascinating over, and that's something that you can learn just by the more that you work with energy, the more that you study energy. I've studied maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 different modalities of energy.
Yeah, no, totally. Absolutely. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Some of the benefits, I wanted to read them to you guys. Some of the benefits here, hang on. Increases openness, memory, concentration, awareness, positive outlook in terms of understanding, perception of behavior and thought process, heightened creativity, better resourcefulness because of the better perception, sense of self-worth, self-esteem, and self-confidence. So, you know, balancing your chakras is definitely an important tool for anyone who's you know, I would say, like, for example, the reason I even did this today was I was feeling a little bit stuck, to be honest with you. And I have been wanting to do this live for a long time, and I felt stuck. And this morning I woke up and I was like, okay, that's it. And so I actually did a chakra clearing on myself, and I also meditated a little bit and did some self Reiki, and I was able to really snap out of it and just kind of like, okay, that's it. We're going to do this today, and here we are. And so and how do you do it? Well, here's the thing. There, right, you know, you can either find someone who does it. There's professionals that do it. You can also speak to a Reiki healer, right? People that do Reiki, I'm sure they can balance chakras. Just depends on if they're specialized in that and if they're interested in doing that. You can also find stuff online. There's so many free videos, and that's how I did it this morning. I did a free little video, chakra balancing. It was super cool, super easy, and that was great. So there's just so many ways to do it. I really do believe, though, and this is just my groundness, is that everything is about intention. If your intention is to clear yourself and to move on and to get rid of the stuckness, that's one of the biggest things you can possibly do for yourself. So if you can do all the right things. You could go to all the practitioners and you can see all the healers and you can do all the spray bottles in the world. You can do everything. But if your intention is not there, and if your mind is still very tight and closed and you're in the reactive crazy, it's not going to help. So it's very, very important to really try to move yourself into the PC, into the proactive crazy as much as you can by you know, choosing new patterns. And this is why EQ for me did become the #1 modality for me, because I did it all. I did it all. I went to every workshop. I tried every single thing in, you know, on God's green earth. And really it all came down to one thing for me, which was, if you want new results, you got to take new action. Bottom line. So I'm a very, like I said, I'm a very practical girl. I'm not going to sell you lotions and potions. I want you to know that they help. They definitely help, but they're not going to work on their own. You have to be willing to take that step to make new choices, new decisions, new actions. So anyone want to share anything about that?
I'll share something. I so agree with you on that the bottles that we use are an additional tool to have it be fun for you to go home and continue doing the work, because it's a continuing process. And something that I've incorporated maybe about 4 years ago, because I actually experienced the difference, is adding some emotional freedom tapping. And there's a lot of people out there that do it. There's a gentleman who lives an hour from me. His name is Brad Yates. And I've known him for years, and he's been associated with other groups that I know. And when I needed something, so I wouldn't go down the rabbit hole and get crazy, his name popped up on Facebook. And when I discovered that using the EFT tapping and the bottles, the bottles turbo boosted the EFT tapping. The EFT tapping turbo boosts the bottles. And so and because I did it for 3 months every day on a specific thing having to do with taxes and the IRS. They wanted to do 3 years of business taxes when I moved to my new house. And I was like, oh my God. So, and I wasn't going to be for 3 months because I hadn't finished the previous year's taxes yet. So I tapped on getting out of my way and allowing miracles. That's one of his, and he's got a very short one. I did that twice a day for 3 months. When I got to the IRS office, there were only 2 people in the office. It was a very small office in a town next to me. The lady who waited on me was a doTERRA essential oil person, had a diffuser on her desk, understood essential oils, understood home-based business. I had tons of paperwork because I've been in the corporate world for 40 years. So I was a program project manager. So I was very detail oriented with everything. Well, here's a big expense. You know, I had had it on QuickBooks. And I just went through my folder and picked out the paper and gave it to her. So she just wanted to know I had a system because I had like $45,000 worth of write-offs. That could have been, if I hadn't taken a different action, I could have been in the crazy and it could have turned out so different.
Exactly. So good for you. That's excellent. Yeah, exactly. And that's, and that's really, that's really the practical. I'm all about practicality and how do we apply this stuff? And that's exactly how you apply it. You still do the physical, right? You still do what you have to do in the world, but you try to use these things as much as you can to help along on the process. One of the things I wanted to, and I don't know what everybody's timeline is. I kind of figured an hour, but are you guys okay staying on for a few more minutes?
Sure.
Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about also is why are these emotions, why is it so important to do these things? Like, why is it so important to do meditation? Why is it so important to do tapping or Reiki balancing or whatever, right? Because as it says in this book, has anyone ever read this book? It's called The Emotion Code.
Yes, I have.
Okay. I figured you would know what this is.
Yes.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
And
So it's by Bradley Nelson. And it's a really cool book. And it talks about how our emotions get stuck in our bodies. And the best way that I know to explain it is that they just become like little pebbles. It's like little pebbles. So every emotion that gets stuck and doesn't get processed becomes like a little pebble in your body. And then it like easy for me to say.
Lodges.
Lodges. That's my European language barrier there. As Tom would call this the esterism, lodges itself into an area in your body, and then it just gets stuck there, and that creates a blockage. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, emotions are very heavy. When I'm not in my reactive crazy and my emotions, like there's a lot of them and I'm carrying a lot of heavy energy, I feel the weight. It's like a bag full of these pebbles. And it's like I'm walking around with this bag full of pebbles, right? And I can't do anything. I can't get up. I can't really, I'm not productive. I can't really do the things I want to do. So when we meditate, when we do these chakra clearings, when we do the oils, when we do all these different tools, and there's so many more tools we can talk about, and we will, it really helps break up these little pebbles. And there's actually people that do this modality, the emotion code. They actually can go in and they can break down these these emotions for you. They use different things. Like I had a person who used like this magnetic roller, and they buy it like with different companies. And so anyway, and then she had this chart, and it was very interesting. But again, these things don't work if we're not being intentional about letting go of these things. So if we're staying stuck in our head and we're being stubborn and we don't want to let go, no matter what you're going to do, it's not going to work,
Actually, you
So,
might wanna just let them know too that when you talk about intention has energy, just like Reiki has energy, just like the bottles have energy, just like a radio has energy. So when you set your intention, it's setting the energy to put that, whatever that intention is, into motion.
right. Yeah, it's like law of attraction, I would say. Yeah, like everything is definitely, we talk about functional spirituality, and like I told you, we'll talk more about that on the podcast, but functional spirituality really explains that everything is energy.
Yep.
And because everything is energy, when we, our thoughts they're real things. They're like real living, breathing entities. And so when we do think about things, it does move. It does create movement. It creates results. You know what I mean? Now I will say that, and I've tested this, a lot of times, like people will say, oh, don't be careful, don't say that thing, it's gonna manifest, like when people say, oh, you're killing me, or, ugh, this line is too long, it's killing me, or whatever, right? Like, yes, words have power, but let's not be ridiculous. You can't, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not like genies. We can't like just, you say a word and then all of a sudden it's like poof, you're like, you turn into a frog because you said, oh, I feel like a frog today. You know what I mean? So like, so obviously, so anyway, just to say that, yes, we have to be very intentional. Intentional is energy, and it's very powerful. So with that, that's pretty much all I had for today. Do you have any questions, any comments about this this session, this meeting? Would you like to see these, being done more? How do you feel about it? Tell me.
I can do. I thought it was extremely powerful and very succinct information, and information that's really needed at this time.
Mhm.
Great, great.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. Thank you, Esther. It was so, I just want to say it was wonderful meeting everybody and listening. Yeah, living in Arizona so many years. It was so funny. I'd seen an emotion code practitioner done. So it's funny bringing it all together. Thank you for defining things. Cause I think sometimes, well, I know what that is, but like chakra, we'll define it. Well, it was good for me. It was really good. Well, no, I need to hear that succinct thing. There's so much to this. And it's so interesting to watch it all come together between Judaism, Christianity, Eastern traditions. It's coming together a little bit more and a little bit more, and keeping it practical, before you know it, you can be out in 10 different places. So it's so cool that I love the idea of functional spirituality. That's really very cool.
Yeah. Stay tuned, because we are going to have, be right with you, Gail. We are going to have, a guest on the podcast. I don't want to give it away just yet, but we're going to be talking about all religions. And he wrote a book on all religions and the link of all religions. And it's going to be a really great show. So definitely keep an eye out for that. So Gail, did you have something? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Gail. Okay, there you go.
Okay. With what I'm experiencing with the loss of my husband and everything that's followed it, what I'm hearing now is extremely helpful, and it's reminded me that there are things that I could be doing to ease the stress that I'm going through. And what you've mentioned, I would like to follow through on.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there something that we can do to support you with on that?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Um,
Maybe we'll just keep you in our prayers. How about that?
that's a good idea.
Okay. Okay.
It's just been so overwhelming for the
Yeah.
the year and all.
Yeah, I hear you.
Mhm.
Okay. I want to hear from everyone, like just one word, 1 or 2 words about how you feel now versus when you first came on the call.
I feel calmer.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Inspired.
More informed.
Um,
Knowing that it's okay to be more playful.
Nice.
That's a good
Well,
idea.
yeah. I feel proud. I feel proud because I was able
Mm.
to move
You
through
should.
my Thank you. I'm proud because I was able to move through my crazy of being afraid to do this live and who will come, who's not going to come and all that kind of stupidness, because the truth is I would have done it anyway. Even if nobody was here, I would have recorded the sucker and just done what I had to do, and whoever needed to hear it would hear it, and that's just how it was going to go. So thank you for being my team, and thank you for being so supportive and being here tonight. And I was thinking maybe do these like if there was a real need, I would do them maybe once a week or maybe twice a month. What do you guys think?
Maybe twice a month.
I'd
Twice a
be
month.
interested.
Okay.
Keep me on the
So-
list.
Okay, so like a Tuesday night, like around this
Mhm.
time, does that work?
Yeah.
As long as you don't mind us eating at the same time.
No, I don't care. I was gonna eat too. Okay, cool. So very good. So just before we leave today, I just want to make sure everybody has my website. Everybody
Mhm.
knows how to get in touch. So you can stay informed. And you can always follow me on Facebook because that's going to be probably the easiest. And also you can subscribe to my newsletter on the website so that I can send you emails. So when you go to the website, you can subscribe there. Or just send me a text if you have my number. Most of you guys have my number. So thank you again, you guys. Thank you for being here. I really want to bless you. And I just want to like hang out and just talk. I just don't want to even go. So, but if you have to go, we'll go and we'll all go and do what we have to do because I am getting hungry actually. So,
I
Thank you.
have to go
so
and-
thank you.
and
Good night,
go.
everybody.
The beauty
Good
of
night.
Zoom.
Remember to you don't have to stop the recording because you had put a pause, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what happened with that. I'll have to figure that out.
Have a good night, everybody. It
All right.
was lovely
Okay,
being with
Have a good
guys.
night.
everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
I see. Okay, I see what I did.
I
Good
thought-
night.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, so I could say okay, and then it'll give me the recording here. Okay.